This doesn't mean we have to go out on a street corner with a sign around our neck saying, repent for the end is near. Unless the Lord tells us to, but check with Father LeBeau first. We need a little discernment on things like that. But there's so many natural ways of doing it. Like, for example, somebody asks you, hey, where were you this weekend? Rather than telling them where you're going to be tomorrow, tell them where you were today. Tell them you were at a conference in Vatican II, but you heard some things about Jesus that really encouraged you, inspired you, and you really got more of a vision of what it means to be a follower of Christ, and see what happens. Or when events like this come around, rather than thinking, well, will I get anything out of it, or when we have parish missions, think about, is there anybody I know in my life that needs to hear more about the Lord and needs to be awakened in their faith or come to faith that I can invite to go with me? Or say you read a good spiritual book, rather than just putting it down on the shelf afterwards, say, is there anybody that I know that I could give this to, that it could help awaken them to a deeper relationship with the Lord? Now what's the worst that could happen to us? I mean, you know, you tell somebody you learn more about Jesus this weekend, and they say, how about those tigers? Do you think there's any hope? Okay, they changed the subject. You can handle that kind of rejection, right? That wouldn't be too hard to recover from. Now, what's the worst possible thing that could happen? Somebody says, oh, thanks be to God, I've been looking for a Christian to kill. Bang, you're dead. Now, this is actually the best possible outcome. I mean, go right to heaven, die as a martyr. Don't show up to your exercise classes anymore. Cancel your doctor's appointments. You know, you're not going to worry about those things anymore, because God's going to be all in all. God's going to be the fulfillment of our deepest desires. A Christian can't lose. A Christian can't lose. For those who love God, and yes, our love is imperfect, and yes, we've got imperfections, and yes, we're far from being canonizable, but you know what? You know what the New Testament calls us? The saints. It calls us the saints because we've been made holy, because Christ has taken a hold of us in the sacrament of baptism. Christ feeds us in the Eucharist, and we're not canonizable yet, but we're on the way, and what the gospel calls us is the holy ones, the saints. And the Lord is just so happy for the measure of love that we have for Him. For those who love God, even imperfectly, everything works according to the good.